Well, I like a lot of the energy out there. I think guys are picking up on the new system awfully well. You can tell already who's studying it. I still think that we need to continue to improve upon how we practice, the method in which we practice, how we finish, and how we compete. And that's always going to be a battle as you move forward. So those things are a few things that I want to continue to see improve over the next, um, I guess, 8, 9 opportunities that we have.
Last time we spoke, we talked about how nice of it was to Coach Kleiman to move into your recruiting territory with this job, and now he's also given you a fairly experienced group of offensive linemen with which to work. How good has that been?
It's been huge. You look at we have a number of individuals who played a lot of football for us, and I'm going to lean on those guys to be leaders, to give feedback, to help with any transitions that we have as far as a technique, a line call, even a scheme that we've run in the past. But if you look at that senior group, and especially those three guys who've played a significant amount of reps over the past few years, I couldn't be more pleased and feel awfully fortunate that they're in the room.
An offensive line is more than just its individual players. It kind of has to be a choreographed group. How hard is that as an offensive line coach to bring that along?
Well, I think that's a great point, and it's interesting that you mentioned that because we discussed it yesterday. I said offensive line is very unique. You can have on the other side of the ball, you can have a blown coverage, you could have a guy out of his gap, but if they get a sack on the quarterback, everybody looks great. We can have four guys up front, all on the same page, just doing a great job. If one guy goes the wrong direction, then we all look terrible. So what we've got to continue to understand is O-line is unique in the sense that we are only going to be as good as our weakest link. If we have one person out of line, then everything falls apart. Everything falls apart offensively. Because it is going to start with us up front. So getting those guys to continue to understand the responsibility that they have up front is that's a huge point of emphasis for us here moving forward.
I got to see a whopping 30 minutes of practice on Monday and a few videos. It strikes me that Conor Riley was probably born to coach offensive line. Would you agree with that?
Well, I enjoy it, and I feel very fortunate to have this opportunity here to coach. It's you truly are as a coach. I still believe a teacher. So to me, I don't know, am I born? Do I have a great responsibility? I certainly enjoy it. So I really enjoy being around the guys. The neatest thing for me is seeing them continue to mature, seeing them continue to grow up. There's so many parallels between the game of football, offensive line play especially, and life, that you can see those parallels, and having that opportunity is a responsibility not taken lightly. We often talk about offensive line plays. We're in the service industry. We really are. And we are there to serve so that quarterback and running back and wide receiver, they can kind of get their face up on the big screen. We got to learn to appreciate that. We have to understand our role and embrace that role.
Okay, I ask you about the veteran guys you inherited, but who are some of the young guys that have caught your eye that maybe K-State fans may not have on their front of their minds right now?
Yeah, well, there's a few that, whether or not they're ready to go, I think that's only going to be, that'll be to be determined over time. But there's a few guys that I've seen significant improvement of, and now where is that consistently? It needs to continue to improve. But, Christian Duffy's a guy who, he came out, had a great practice, and he and I visited yesterday about now it's a challenge of ours to continue to put great practices back to back. I love the way that Noah Johnson competes. I love the way that he continues to improve every single day. Harrison Creed took a big step in yesterday's practice, and I'm going to compliment him. Are we a ways away with guys like him? Absolutely. And then you look at a name like Ben Adler a few days ago. He took a great step out there in practice, and the way that he is learning to compete and seeing the kind of the fruits of his labor. There's a long ways to go with those guys that I just mentioned and everybody else, but you're seeing those strides. And as a coach, we're obviously going to point out where we need to improve, which there's quite a few places we need to, but we're also going to really hit on the things that are positive as well.